Welcome to another video. Yes, what you heard there in the beginning was the Marshall Silver Jubilee Mini Head at full blast on the Clean channel. Yes, that's what the Clean channel sounds like. This is review part 2 of said amplifier. My name is Elmo J. Karjalainen. You can call me this guy. It's good to have you along, and we'll continue right after this intro. Alright, so like I said, what you heard was the Marshall Silver Jubilee Mini Head cranked full blast in 20 watt mode. So it does 20 watts and it does 5 watts. Now, that kind of volume, even though it isn't as loud as a 50 watt or a 100 watt Marshall, is still not something that you can use, let's say, at home. So if you want to play at home, you're screwed. Now, what we'll do today, we'll check out what you can do about the volume and how that affects the sound, and also go through some of the controls and the features of the amp. So with that in mind, and because it's basically impossible to make a kind of review of this amp with its on full, because, hey, speech and all that, so the volume differences become unmanageable. Yeah, I could use compressors and all that, but yeah, whatever. So I thought we'd just see what we can do about the volume, how that affects the sound, and then I'll walk you through some of the features. So basically you have two options for volume. I was playing that in the 20 watt mode. So let's put it into 5 watt mode and see what that sounds like, and basically compare the two. So I'll start with 20 watts and do the same thing that I just did, and then switch it down to 5 watts. Okay, so that's the difference between 20 watts and 5 watts. So there is a noticeable drop in volume there. But the 5 watt mode sounds great as well. Now, I have input gain on full, and I have both volumes on full. It has a separate volume for the clean channel and 2 volumes that combine for the kind of the overdrive channel, if I've understood it correct. I'm a bit stupid, I don't understand how a valve amp works. Yes, but anyway, I'll put it back into 5 watt mode, and 20 watt mode, and drop the volume halfway so you can see what happens then. So as you can notice, it got instantly a whole lot cleaner as well, which is, yeah, it can be a very good thing. Now, let's see what happens when I drop it to 5 watts. Okay, now we have the kind of volume where I can do a kind of demo. So, but if you haven't watched part 1, I just play this loud through the clean and the overdrive section, and also with the clean using an overdrive pedal to drive the amp even more. So now I'm just going to play fairly quiet in 5 watt mode with volume halfway down. So what does it sound like now if we put it into overdrive? Still fairly noisy. Okay, I'll drop input gain a bit to see if we can get rid of the hiss. Yes, we can, but it starts sounding weak and not very good at all. So I'll just put input gain back where it was. Let's see what it does on the clean channel with an overdrive pedal now. So the clean was like this. Add a bit of overdrive from the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive. Needs a noise gate. More overdrive. And here is the deal. It starts sounding like crap when you drop the volume, which is a big problem. Even 5 watts is fairly loud. Now, one thing I've done, and I have it set up on my pedal board, is run a kind of volume pots in the loop of the plexi, because the plexi's outputs don't work like a master volume at all. So that way I've been able to bring down the volume of the plexi, and it works fairly well. So I've brought down the volume of this now with the same volume pot. So let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, it's instantly it lacks something when you drop volumes too much. Let's go for some kind of happy medium. So I've dropped the volume a bit. It sounds like this now. Overdrive sounds like this. Still, the noise on the overdrive channel is, it's pretty much. So, those are the kind of volume things you run into. Now, what do the kind of EQ controls do? Well, I can just quickly flip through them. I have presence set to 4, bass set to 5, 6, just over 5, and treble and middle set to between 7 and 8. So let's just go through them. Presence first. bass. Middle. Jeez, that sounded terrible. And treble. Yeah, so that's it. That's what the controls do. What else does this amp do? Well, basically that's what it does. It's basically a JCM 800, basically-ish, and it sounds the business. I mean, this is great stuff. Especially when you really crank it, it gets really good. It's a bit different to the Marshall Studio Vintage, but yeah, it's a bit different to a Plexi. That's basically what I'm trying to say. One of the things that really puzzles me, and I don't know enough about amps to know why this is, but I think that I've been told that the volume pot that I have in the loop works just like a master volume, and judging by what I just tried with this, it works like a master volume. But I find it works remarkably well with the Plexis, with the Studio Vintage and the 1987X. I can drop this almost to bedroom volume and it still sounds fairly good, whereas we drop this even in 5-watt mode and it starts sounding quite poor quite quickly. I don't know why that is. Maybe someone who knows something about amps can, answer that question in the comments. The volume pot I'm using is just a passive kind of thing that I bought for 15 euros on eBay. So, yeah, that's basically all I have for you today. I'll end by playing with what is probably my favorite setting on this amp. I'll put it on full in 5-watt mode and keep the clean channel and use the Fender Yngwie Malmsteen overdrive for the overdrive. It makes it cut through a bit better in my opinion. Great amp. So if, like I said in part 1, if you get the chance, do check it out somewhere. And I would have made this into one video, but I was afraid that it would become too long. So I decided to split it up into 2 videos. I hope you enjoyed them both. And if you haven't checked out part 1, the link is in the description. Yeah, so like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down and comment. Let me know what you think about this amp or any Marshall amp. Is this the classic Marshall tone? Does the classic Marshall tone live in this amp? What do I know? What I do know, it doesn't live in the Marshall code, contrary to what some people have told me. Come on, seriously, if you think Marshall tone lives in the Marshall code. But let me know what you think about this, and you can let me know what you think about my opinions as well, because some of you already have. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that bell notification thing, and support me on Patreon so you get my honest opinion. Because I bought this amp, I really like it. And I'm going to compare it to the Studio Vintage. They're both 20 watts, they cost the same. But I'm going to do that in the next video. So, I hope to see you in another one. Yes, I hope to see you in another one. In the meanwhile, take care. Goodbye!